Have you ever told a lie?
Oh, certainly have. But I think we're going to be talking about lying to yourself here.
Lying to yourself? Yeah, but
Have you ever lied to yourself before?
I think so. I bet you
Yeah.
everyone has. I think most people have.
Yeah. I think we all have at one point or another.
That's what we're going to be talking about in Get Real
with the English Sisters.
The #1 podcast for anxiety relief that will make you smile.
And if you like this podcast, please share it with your family and friends and help us grow, as it really does make a difference to why we decide to make these podcasts. Because we're here in the little studio, but, the more of you that watch, we become more and more motivated, don't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we love getting the feedback and hearing what you have to say about it.
It's all part of the process, isn't it?
Yeah, and if it made you think about anything in particular, right, that's great, so so get back to us. And so for today, yes.
It's the #1 reason why we need to stop lying to ourselves. Or you need to stop lying to yourself.
This thing about,
Does this resonate with you?
Yeah, does it resonate?
Do you tell lies to yourself?
All the time.
I mean, the odd white lie.
To yourself?
I mean, I tend to, I don't know if it's called lying.
It's not really, it's self-deception, isn't it? It's just denial, really, isn't it?
When I think I have to book an appointment for the doctors or something, like the annual health check, I always put it off. I mean, that's all procrastination.
Yeah.
But I do kind of lie to myself because I say, I'll do it next week, and then I don't.
When you say you're going to do it next week, you already know that's just
a lie. It's like a deception, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it's self-deception. Yeah, it's all intertwined, isn't it? Deception, denial. That's kind of a lie you're telling yourself. Like if you get a diagnosis that you're not happy with from a doctor, for example, you might go into denial, which is also a way to protect yourself if you've had some bad news, for example.
But does lying to yourself cause anxiety?
Well, I don't know, but I think eventually, if you're always lying to yourself, you're ultimately going to be more anxious, definitely, because you're never going to get down to the real truth about what you really want.
To the nitty-gritty of the emotions, I think.
Also the emotions. Yeah, you just can't.
They're all underneath and you're like stifling them down, like blocking them, like pushing them down all the time by lying to yourself.
To yourself. Like you could be lying about anything, even like about relationships. Oh yeah, we're happy, we've got happy. But then underneath you've got this niggling voice that's telling you, there's something wrong. But you're just covering up and you're saying, no, it's not, because you've got history, because, so much of everything in every relationship, work, love, whatever it is, friendship. But there comes to I think a time when this could be actually causing you anxiety because you're not being true to what's really going on.
And to what you probably have to do.
For that little voice that, every now and then, if you're quiet enough, you know what you have to do. You might need to stop seeing this person, or even if it's like a really long-term relationship, you might have to
face the uncomfortable truth.
Face the truth.
Today I was reading on Reddit, for instance, this lady, or this person, I'm not sure if it was a lady actually, but this person said that they had to break up with their partner, their long-term partner, just before Christmas.
Yeah.
Because they were really suffering. They said, I know it's a really long time to do it, but I just felt it was the time I needed to do it, and it's been really hard. But they said they've been putting it off for ages, so they're kind of lying to themselves, saying
everything was okay.
It's okay, until they say, no, that's enough now.
Yeah, that's a self-denial. That's a lying to yourself, and that's what it can cause, years of anxiety and not fully being happy because you don't really want to face the truth. You don't want to face those emotions, that hard truth of saying, oh no, this is really happening now. I've got to deal with this, and the logistics of it as well. Like if you're in a long-term relationship, you might have family as well, and all of that stuff. You don't want to do that. And so
So it's easier to lie to yourself.
momentarily it's easier, but then ultimately you're going to get
It's
through. It's harder, and you're going to have that sense of anxiety always like hovering over you.
It's really hard on your mental health, isn't it?
Very hard, yeah. And this can be with anything.
And it's like you kind of don't want to accept it, so you don't kind of realize you're lying to yourself.
No, of course you don't. You can, because it's a very small voice, and it can only happen sometimes when you can sort of hear yourself and you think, oh God, and then you push it to one side, but there's something you have to do, for example, and I was thinking about a friend of ours with a long-term relationship that was going on for years and years and years, and then now finally the breakup has happened, and that person is feeling so much better.
Yes. Free.
Free. And it makes you wonder, gosh, if only those, like, that self-denial hadn't gone on for such a long time.
It would have been better.
It would have been better. Why do you really have to wait that long in order to listen to your own voice?
Sometimes I think you have to process things and you're not ready to accept it.
That's where, because you're in
But
denial.
I think, and other times it is that really you're just trying to bluff your way through things. You're just trying to deceive yourself and say it's going to be okay.
I'll fake it till I make it, kind of thing. I'll pretend.
Isn't. Sometimes it is, but I think there's that,
I don't think in a relationship you can fake it till you make it, though.
There's that part of you that knows that it's not working.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's the bit that you're
the real
lying
part,
about.
and that's like
That's the bit you're lying about.
And that's who you're lying to, that part of you that is your essence that needs to be taken care of and needs to be nourished. And so if you feel like, no, this really isn't the right, you're
What about when you lie, like you say, you tell people you're going to go to dinner with them and things, and then you don't?
Oh, well, I mean, we're talking about deep stuff here, and then as usual, you go to a dinner. I'm just really getting down to the essence of who you are. This is what Violetta always does. Then she says something really, like, oh, yeah, what about you? I mean, who cares about that? That's just like... You mean you lie to yourself because you say, yes, I will go to dinner, and then you invent up another lie not to go.
I don't think this is completely unrelated.
No, you don't.
Even though you berated me about it. I think it's not unrelated, because I think that's how the lying starts. It starts
not
with
being
you
true.
not being truthful, and you starting to make these small lies up, like, oh yeah, I'll come to dinner with you, and then you don't go.
You're right.
At the last
it could
minute.
be how it
Or,
starts.
oh yes, I will go on a date with you, and then you don't go. Or you push it. You say, no, I can't do it this week. And you go next week, and then next week
another lie,
another lie. Instead of, the truth is that you really don't want to go on a date with that person, or you don't want to do that for that person. But you don't. So I think it all starts from these tiny white lies that turn into bigger lies.
A lot of those white lies are due to just being like embarrassed to face up and actually tell the truth and say, no, I don't. Like on a date, for example, say, oh no, I'm not really, I don't want to go with you on this date. And
yeah, but you can just say, I'm not in the right frame of mind now to go on this date.
Yeah, just say no.
And then that person won't be waiting, instead of saying, oh yeah, I'm coming, and then don't turn up at the last minute, flaking.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah, I would hate that. I'd much rather just be told, no, sorry, I don't want to go on the date with you, than make me think I'm going on a date. You don't even have to
be so harsh. No, sorry, I don't want to go on the date.
No, but like say,
I'm not in the right,
I'm not dating at the moment.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Well done.
Yeah.
I need to work on myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not dating. I need to work. Yeah, and maybe you're right. Maybe it does stem from all that kind of the beginning of it all, like...
Or like, even like, I was thinking like in here, especially when I used to notice it a lot here when we first came over and we had our little kids, how Italian people in this area, because I don't want to generalise to all Italians, just the people around us seem to do it. And they would always tell their children, "Oh,
Maybe in those days it was more common, yeah.
I don't know if they do it now or not, but I was
No.
saying they would always tell that their kids would say, "Can I have an ice cream?" "Oh, yes, we'll get you one later."
Oh, yeah.
And they had no intention of getting their child
No,
an
I
ice cream.
hate
Then they would
that.
come to us and say, "Yes, it's lunchtime in a minute." They'll forget about it.
Oh, God, no.
And we
Oh,
always
God,
used to say, if
no.
you promise something, you do
Oh,
it.
no way, yeah. If I was promised ice cream, I didn't get one, it would be devastating for me.
Exactly.
I would never do that to my kids. It was always, they would
It
always
would
say,
always
Mum,
be yes or no.
I know if you say yes, it's yes. But with Dad, for example, who is a different culture and he is Italian, he might say things like, "Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, probably on Sunday we'll go to the park or something." And I would always say, "No, don't make those kind of promises if you don't think we can really go there." But he would be quite surprised until he learned like the parenting styles, and he learned that he had to kind of like get around it though, like the culture as well, or whether it was just me as well, because if I said we're going to safari or something park, I
Yeah,
can't remember.
It would be true.
It would be, I would say, "What, do you really want to take them this weekend?" And he would say, "Oh, I don't know. I just said it because it's nice, isn't it?" I would say, "No, don't say it because it's nice. Is it going to be this weekend?" He would say, "Don't be so obsessive about it.
Well, I think
Chill."
no, because I think children naturally don't lie, so they want the truth
Well,
to feel safe.
younger children
Yes,
before they go to school,
yes, the
yeah,
little
because
ones.
yeah, the very
li-
little
the
ones,
very
yeah.
little ones, they don't know about lying. So I think if you lie to them, they're not going to understand it. They're not going to understand like it's just a social thing that's kind of acceptable.
No.
And it can be actually quite detrimental for them.
Yeah, their nonny would do that a lot as well. The grandparents, they would say, "Oh, we'll be coming round to see you later." Like if the little ones would cry and they would say, "Oh, nonny, don't go." And they would say, "No, we'll be back later." And I would say, "No, you're not coming back later."
It's bedtime.
Yeah, I go, no, the nonny will not come back later. Just say goodbye to them now and then we'll see them next week or whatever. But yeah, I do remember this kind of culture thing of
They kind of want to soften things.
candy sugar, the childhood by like, you don't kind of tell kids that, you break it softly and then the kids kind of learn. Like the Italian kids kind of
when
know.
on Sunday they're waiting for their dad or their mum to take them to the zoo or the safari.
No, it's not
and
because that's the way we grew up. But I'm wondering if perhaps
I don't think
there's
they
a
do
kind
know
of
it.
like
No, I think that causes instability in them when they grow up. Or
probably.
it causes them to become liars.
Well, they learn the habit, don't they? It's a learned thing of like
Yeah.
being a bit more laxed about things and saying,
think-
if I say I come, it doesn't really mean like if your friend's mum here, like in Italy, if she would say, "Oh, yeah, let's meet up like next week and we'll have another play date," she might not really mean that. You know, she might not mean you're actually going to see your little friend next week. But if I would say that to my kids, it would mean I would do everything I could possibly to ensure that would happen.
Yes.
But but that's just kind of different. I don't know if those little kids would ever think, I don't know. Maybe it's the culture thing. I'm not sure there. I can't.
You don't want to judge.
I don't know. I definitely don't want to judge because it might be just the kids might just kind of know that's how it is and it's fine and just forget maybe. I don't know. Go off and they might get distracted with something else, like what the Italians would say my kids wouldn't get distracted, well, because they were my kids. And that's the way I raised them, so I don't know.
I think most kids will be saying on the Sunday where it's time to go to the zoo, they know how to count the days, and then the parents would say, "Oh no, we can't go this week, next week."
Yeah.
And then eventually they'll learn
The
that
letdown,
what
dad or mum says
is not true.
It's not always
It's
true.
not true.
Yeah.
It's not a true, is it?
It's not something I can rely on, so it makes you less reliable.
It makes you less not so secure.
Not so accountable, yeah. Maybe, yeah. Anyway,
I think it can cause anxiety.
we were
because-
brought up with our mum. If she would say A, it was definitely A, and if it was B, it was B. So
was
if
yes
it was
or
yes or no, if we were going on a trip, we would definitely go on that trip. So we raised our kids the same way.
Yeah.
But other people might have grown up in a different kind of environment. It might be okay.
Yeah, but I think if they learn to tell, if they find that they're lying to themselves and they're also lying to their children, I think if they you can also learn, can't you? Because if you've been brought up like that, doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. I think psychologically, we've seen it a lot
No,
in
it
our,
definitely
with our
can
therapy
help.
clients.
Yeah.
We've seen it that this kind of behavior can cause anxiety in the long run for the parents and for the children.
Well, for the children, it's definitely best to be honest because they're going to pick up on anything anyway. They're like, they can look at your face and read it. They're special, you know. They know exactly. So
it's
if
not
you-
congruent.
if
Is
you
it? It's
say-
not if you say yes, I'm taking you, and then your body language is saying not really.
No, there's an incongruence, yeah.
incongruence, which means that there's something that's not quite right, which does cause
make them
anxiety.
feel anxious. She doesn't really want to take me, you know. Why, you know, it could be a whole
Is
series
it something to do with me?
me.
Did
Was I
do something
naughty?
wrong?
Yeah, all this
It
kind
all
of
goes
stuff.
back to that. So I think a lot of childhood trauma
There we go. We're back to the childhood.
can
So
be
it always ends
avoided
up-
because there's so many children now that are having anxiety as well.
Well, if you do have children, just maybe, you know, think about it for a bit, you know, and remember, you know, maybe if you are more truthful with them, you can actually make them feel more secure. So if you don't want to go to the zoo because you're tired and you've worked really hard all week, just say it. Just say, no, I really, the truth is I do not want to go. I want to spend my Sunday doing something else because I'm exhausted. And you will get, even though they might say, and make a little fuss and moan and say, you're always tired. I mean, our kids used to say that to us. You're always tired. Oh, no. But in the end, hey, they learned that we spoke our truths and that.
It allows them to say that they're tired as well, or
Exactly.
that they don't want to do something.
Yes. So that hopefully, you know, now they're grown up, they can say, no, I don't feel like doing that without having to.
To make an excuse or say I will do it and then not do it.
Yeah, because that's even worse. Yeah, at least if you make an excuse. But yeah, this whole self-denial thing is, and self-deception more than self-denial, because self-denial is a protective method, and you know we all do it when we don't want to hear things and we want to have that moment, you know, of peace, yeah, and we can't accept it at the time, or it's too harsh, or so you go into the self-denial, a bit of a bubble, and you think no. But self-deception, are they different really?
Well, one is you're deceiving yourself, one is you're lying to yourself. It's very similar.
What? To deceive and to lie is the same word. So no,
Well,
I
when
mean
it's
to
lie
deny.
to yourself.
You didn't like denial and deception.
Denial is a bit different because it's like
Yeah.
total. You're just pretending it hasn't kind of happened.
Okay.
You're not even going there, so it is a bit different.
That's what I meant.
But to
yeah.
deceive yourself.
No, to deceive is the same as to lie. Yes, yeah, absolutely. No, it's the same thing. Yeah, I was wondering whether the denial and the deception.
I think that
Yeah, they're intertwined, definitely.
I think
but
definitely intertwined.
so what? How can we not deceive ourselves? You know, what
Well,
can
I think
we do?
we have to, when we realise we have to see what triggers us to do it.
Yeah.
So if you find that, say for instance, if you're in this dinner party situation or like with your children, if you find it very difficult to say, no, not at the moment, we can't do that because they might have a tantrum or something, you have to work on that and you have to kind of
Get your voice back.
yes,
of
like when you get into that kind of situation, say if you're going to the supermarket, you know they're going to want chocolates.
Yeah.
You can maybe tell your children in advance, so mum and dad, we're not buying you any chocolates today because we haven't got the money, or because we're going to be eating healthily, and we're going to, maybe you can offer some sweetener, I would say, maybe at the weekend, if it's true, we're going to make some homemade cookies or something.
Yeah.
So offer them something nice to look forward to. Otherwise, just say, no, we can't do that, and give them a reason. Because after all, children are like adults. If they have reasons, it's going to be a lot easier for them to
Easier.
accept it.
So maybe we should give ourselves a reason too. So,
Yes.
you know, so in the same way as we speak to our own little ones, we can talk to ourselves and say,
That's a good point.
no, I'm not going to accept this because, and give yourself a because. So if you're always saying that you need to eat healthily and you know that you're
Lying to yourself.
lying to yourself, you have to give yourself a because. Say, I need to eat healthily because otherwise I'm going to get sick. Is that right? Am I getting confused?
Because
here?
I'm going to get sick if I don't.
Yeah, but that's not motivation enough for a lot of people, is it?
Well, I'm going to get sick if I
Get
don't.
sick, actually sick.
I think
yes.
that should be enough motivation.
Yeah.
If
Physically
that's
ill.
not enough motivation, then you have to look at the causes behind why you don't value yourself enough
Why
to
there's
care
not
about yourself, to
yourself,
think
yeah.
if I get sick, it's okay. You know, maybe there's a part of you that kind of wants to get sick because you want some days off work, or you just can't cope with what's going on in the world.
I was reading a study actually, and it was saying that it's like 7 out of 10. I think it was an American study of people didn't really have that self-care, that, you know, they didn't really love themselves enough to actually want to help themselves. So like, look after themselves physically, or like love themselves, go to a doctor, for example. It was quite shocking.
Well, that's
so
sad, isn't it?
yeah. But if they asked them the same question about a family member, they would immediately say, oh, yes, sure, of course I want them or to get the best care. But if it was about themselves, it was less.
So maybe they would have to turn the table and say, if it was my family, would I take care of them?
Yeah.
But I have to do the same for myself.
Self, yeah.
And then that way they can learn to
Sort
love
of
themselves.
self, yeah. It's a bit of a funny one, that, but I think that does tend to happen a lot of the time when you kind of neglect yourself.
I think that goes back to being selfish.
Selfish.
Well, people think they're selfish if they're looking after themselves, don't they?
Yeah, but it's the opposite. They're selfish if they don't look after themselves.
Yeah, because then
that's what I
someone
always
else is
tell
gonna
my
have to look
husband.
after
Yeah, I'm sick of you. If you're not looking after yourself, I get furious. Like,
'Cause
he
then
has high
someone
blood
else-
pressure, and if he doesn't take his medication or something, it drives me nuts.
Well, no wonder.
Yeah, because it's so dangerous. I go, goodness me. You know, take the meds and look after yourself. Why are you not? Why is this not your priority? Whereas if it's anything to do with me, quickly rush off.
Straight to the doctor.
Straight to the doctor.
Straight to the ER.
Yeah. So, I mean, come on. You know, we've got to understand why we're doing this to ourselves.
And does that cause him anxiety when he doesn't take his meds?
I don't know. It causes me anxiety. Because I love him so much, and I think something might happen to him. So I don't know if it causes him. I don't think he cares much.
Doesn't he always go on about it afterwards? I didn't take my meds. Why does he let you know he doesn't take them?
Yeah, why does he let me know? Yeah, he should just keep quiet. Just next time I say, just keep quiet. You
Because
decide.
I think there is a part of him that makes him anxious. So he thinks if he spits it out and he tells you,
I'll be anxious
you're
for
like,
both of us.
you're like worried for him, and then he won't have to worry himself.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. It's these funny little things, isn't it? It's like self-denial.
It's the human psyche is so complicated.
It
really.
is, yeah. You think, gosh, really? And because if you ask anyone just when they're about to die, most people want to live a bit longer, don't they? Yeah, come on. Hopefully, for your life, if you're not in pain, if you're not in pain.
Yeah, if you're not in pain.
You want to live a little bit longer. Ideally, you would say, yes, I would like to live a long life if it does not involve physical pain or mental anguish, etc. So you think you want to take care of yourself for as long as you've got on this planet. But then the ins and out, like what you say, of the mental psyche.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's weird, yeah.
It's fascinating.
Very fascinating.
We could go on for hours talking about this.
We could, but we don't want to get off topic. No.
So we'll let you decide. Do you lie to yourself? Have you
Yeah.
ever told a white lie? You'd be a liar if you said you hadn't.
You'd definitely be a liar if you said you hadn't told a little white lie, which are just those innocent lies. But it's the other kind of lying. Are you lying to yourself about where you are and
about your health, about your relationships, about your emotions? Do you accept your emotions? Do you allow your emotions to actually feel them and then cope with them and then manage them and accept them?
Yeah.
Because I think when you do, then things get a lot better immediately.
A lot better. I think so.
Let us know.
Yeah, please do. Let us know. Share your comments, share this podcast, and get in touch with us. So that
follow us on Instagram at Get Real with the English Sisters. And also come watch us on YouTube, as we also have the video version on YouTube. This podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Enjoy a wonderful week. Love and smiles from the English Sisters. Bye for now.
Bye.